This is honestly the second time Call of the Night has really come in with a reality check right at the very end. As much as it feels like this fluff show with this goofy little mystery behind it, which was honestly pretty obvious from the very beginning, but still, having this really great moment at the very end, it kind of reminds me back when you had the office worker and Ko was sort of telling her, essentially, you can still be a kid. Like, all the things that you enjoyed when you were younger, you can do that. It's not as if you had to leave that stuff behind. But no, this little snippet Midori gives. Humans are all pretty much sick in their own way, you know. We just have to learn to deal with that. It was so good. It was so good. I honestly think it's one of those things it's a reality check. It's that idea that, look, we're all weird in some way. She says sick, but we're all weird in our own way. We all have our thing that we're into that a lot of people will see as bad. And yes, being anime fans, everybody watching this that's an anime fan, I doubt anybody that's not an anime fan is watching this, but if you are, what's up? We're all seen as enjoying something that other people think is sick. We think we're the outsiders that are seen as enjoying something we shouldn't be enjoying. And it's that idea of acceptance. I say this whenever there's like a conflict within the anime sphere. Like, a lot of people love this thing, and then all these people are mad because it's not as good as they think it is. And there's this little conflict back and forth, and I always think, like, what are we fighting over? Like, what are we fighting over? We're all sick in our own way. Just learn to deal with it. And honestly, I would argue, mind your business. But it was good. It was such a good line. It was very simple, very to the point, and I guess technically pretty much fixes the issue. It was kind of nice for once having somebody besides Ko be the one to deliver it. That was kind of the whole thing with the last episode. You kind of hope that Seti and Akiyama kind of figure things out and address that issue, but no, Ko's the one that has to speak up. Or as a friend of mine said this week in Dr. Ko, I think it's perfect. I was kind of mentioning that with my last episode impressions. It's like, it feels like every episode is going to be where Ko goes out and resolves somebody's problems, which is fine, honestly. It started off with basically Ko being fixed. Nazuna showing him something good, something that Ko needs, freedom that he's looking for. And then now he's going around and fixing everybody else. Now, honestly, I thought it was going to be this episode. Oh, Midori shows up, Maid Cafe, she's helped with it. I'm like, okay, here we go. Midori's got a problem. Time to fix Midori's problems. Nope. It's this other character. It's Arisa. So I don't know, maybe in the future we'll get something around Midori. It doesn't seem to imply that Midori has a problem. Like, Seti was legit having a problem. She was going to do something very rash and something that was probably going to affect her in the future. And honestly, Midori doesn't seem like she has that. She just thinks that she's super cute. She's obviously super cute. She's very popular. And she does believe that Ko denied her and she doesn't like that. But at the same time, it's not as if she has like some big issue. Her big issue in this episode was that she became number one in this Maid Cafe, and this other person was a little bit upset about it. It wasn't that she was going after her, but at the same time, it was at least a conflict that she was dealing with. But obviously, with everything that's involved with these vampires, they don't see things the same way that we do. Just like with Ko bringing the human perspective into Seti's life. She's like, well, if it's a mess, I'll deal with it. I'll just get rid of him. And then Ko has to step in and say, no, you don't realize this is a good thing. This is a good thing between you two. And rather than throwing it away, accept it. And that's similar to this whole aspect and the idea that while the vampires see this as like, what's the problem? At the same time, as a human see it as a big issue. We have limited time and we want to be noticed. Everybody technically wants to be noticed in some way. Even people that are introverts or whatever, they technically somewhere in there probably want to be noticed by somebody, even if they don't think they want to. Being accepted by people is important. It's what gives you a reason for continuing to strive forward. Now, you can find plenty of things to enjoy without the necessity of other people, and I've found myself in that place a lot. But every now and then you kind of just have a feeling like, I want to be noticed by somebody. I want somebody to notice me. And yes, technically with this situation, she was the top of the top in this Maid Cafe, and now she's second place, and she wants to be noticed by people. And that drives her to basically put lewds online, which, yes, is technically the whole shtick for this episode. It came out to a really nice ending, because I think the ending, again, similar to how we deal with other situations in this series, it's always like the easy answer, but it's the hard one to accept. It's the easy pill, hard to swallow, that you're looking at things wrong. This isn't a bad thing. To be wanted to be noticed is not a bad thing. She's pointing out everybody here is sick. Every human is sick in some way, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're broken. It doesn't mean that you have to be cured. You just have to deal with the sickness. And I really did like that. Putting it I found it odd when she first noted it as an illness. Oh, you have an illness. You have a sickness. Because it's something that, yes, can be cured, but it's something that you have to sort of deal with. It's kind of something that's infected you, and technically something you can live with. It's not a curse. It's not that you're damaged. And while you can cure it, Midori puts it in a way that it's not a bad thing. We just learn to live with it. She doesn't say immediately, and you should find a cure. You should really get over this illness. She's not trying to fix her. But anyways, the rest of the episode was great. And a lot of really great laugh out loud moments. I think my favorite part was the whole thing where like, oh, there's these, things being spread on the internet. And then Ko takes it and immediately you see his fingers go, whoop. She's like, why are you zooming in on that, you pervert? And they just sit there and just berate him with how messed up he is. But he's like, no, I'm looking at this for a reason. It was great. And then later on, he's looking through it again and she comes in and she's like, it's a little embarrassing that you're doing that. I think that was one of the moments where it kind of cued in. Honestly, her going out of her way to say she took #1 spot. I was #1, by the way, but just don't tell anybody. That was like the moment right there where I'm like, okay, when they brought up this whole who's spreading stuff thing, I was like, yeah, it's probably her because they went out of her way telling that she was #1. It was basically, that was the first time that she wanted attention. That was her first time and she said, hey, I was #1. It was like her trying to get attention from him at that moment right there. But I think it was the whole idea that she comes in and she's technically perfectly fine with him basically looking at these inappropriate pictures of her. She was very casual about it. Now, granted, she did say that he was cute, but that could have been her role playing. So, honestly, the only thing that I didn't like about this episode is that it didn't play enough on Nazuna. Like, Nazuna got so sidelined. And technically, she was sidelined in the last episode, but like having this whole thing where, okay, now we get to finally see Nazuna in a maid outfit. We've seen her like try out like 2 maid things and then she's gone. Like, we never get to see her again. Like, we didn't get to see her actually do a good act. It was really just her messing up twice and that was it, which was funny. Which was really funny. Everybody's welcoming Ko inside, and then she's like over there going, "Irasai." Like, that's so Nazuna. She's got this raspy voice, and then her like doing her super grandstanding welcome. But yeah, seeing Midori do her act, which was great. Midori is super cute. I think she's one of my favorite of the vampire packs, besides maybe Seri. But yeah, definitely a lot of interesting shot. Midori with Ko inside of the locker was spicy. But no, I think the other funniest part of this episode was definitely Ko, the detective. Like, he suddenly figures it all out and it's like this big crazy like mind realization thing where his mind just becomes like out into the universe or something, just completely over the top. And then suddenly he's like, bring everybody. I've always wanted to say this, but I can now finally say it. Once the ship's over, bring everybody in. I've found the culprit. Then sure enough, Midori comes in. Oh, you figured it out? That's great. And he's like, yes, I've finally figured it out. I'm 80% sure. No, probably more like 60, maybe 40%. Saying that I definitely know who it is probably a stretch. She's like, the more he talks, the more confidence he loses. It was so good. That was probably one of the most laugh out loud moments I've had in this show. And yeah, technically how he figured it out was the fact that it's somebody that's really good at selfies, and plus, yeah, there was no upskirts. And he's like, oh, so you were looking for that from the very beginning. Well, yeah. It's like you can't really argue it. Like, yes, technically he was handed this list of inappropriate shots and he's looking through it and going, but wait, you would assume that there would be these ones. Like, if somebody was peeping on her, they would definitely do this shot. And I'm looking for it because obviously I need to look for it for research. And I'm not finding it. It was good. It was really good. But they were nice photos. Yeah. Great episode as always. Call the Night is fantastic as ever. 3 more episodes. I'm not looking forward to this show ending. Hopefully we get an announcement for another season really quickly. But we'll have to wait and see. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, make sure to hit that like button down below. Comment, let me know what you thought of the episode. Share the video if you can. Subscribe to the channel if you've not already so you can get all my content. I do news, reviews, first impressions. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you want to support the channel more, we have a Patreon link, a tips link, and a super thanks button down below. All of you guys' support is what makes this happen, and I greatly appreciate it. And y'all take care.